Okay, we'll call the Committee of the Whole meeting to order at 1 p.m. for December 9th, 2024. Jody.
Please note, council meetings are streamed live and recorded on YouTube. Attendees acknowledge that in accordance with Section 17(2)(g) of the Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act, names, addresses, and other details provided when speaking at a council meeting will be publicly shared. Should you have any questions related to the collection or disclosure of personal information, please contact the Legislative and Advisory Services Division for the Town of High River by sending an email to FOIP, that's FOIP, @highriver.ca.
Thanks, Jody. Adoption of the agenda. I'll ask for a motion from Councillor Nychuk that the Committee of the Whole adopt the agenda for the Committee of the Whole meeting December 9th as presented.
I'll give you that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. And adoption of previous minutes. Ask for a motion from Councillor Jones that the Committee of the Whole adopt the minutes from the November 25th Committee of the Whole meeting as presented.
I'll give you that motion, Mayor Snodgrass.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. ATCO franchise fees. David?
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. You have before you a briefing note on our current gas distribution franchise agreement with ATCO Gas and Pipelines Limited. As you are aware, our current agreement with ATCO expires on August 31st, 2025. With the Government of Alberta's Utilities Affordability Statutes Amendment Act 2024, the Alberta Utilities Commission, or AUC, must review all current gas franchise agreements to ensure they are compliant with new legislation by March 17, 2025. To support this review by AUC, we are required to follow a special process which includes advertising our franchise agreement to our community, recording and responding to any feedback, and sending to ATCO all of the above for submission to the AUC. The estimated franchise fees for 2025 is $730,000, assuming an unchanged franchise fee rate rider of 20%, or an average $9.31 per month per average household, with each $155,000 in taxation revenue equating to a tax rate of 1.4%. The franchise fees equates to an equivalent tax rate of 6.6%. We will proceed with the notice as noted on page 3 of this briefing by midweek. And that concludes my comments.
Thanks, David. Any questions from council? I think we've all had feedback on these franchise fees from the public every now and then as to why they show up on everybody's bill and everything else. But council always has the choice as to don't have to do it. But if you don't do it, you just lost the $730,000, which has to be recouped in an additional tax. And thanks very much for giving us that number. It's 6.6%. So it's just it's a revenue stream that's part of our daily budget. So no other questions. Thanks, David.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Aquatics expansion update. Kaylee, Chris?
Good afternoon. So I'm just here for a very quick update with regards to the construction activities that have taken place to date out on site. A lot of it you wouldn't have seen because a lot of it does exist in the ground. So we have had some changes at the pool in our existing pool basin. We have that temporary wall up that separates the existing pool from the construction site. And there's a temporary air handling unit that is operating in that space because the existing temporary handling unit had to be removed in order for us to have the space to build the new facility. We've relocated a bunch of the in-ground infrastructure that existed in the parking lot a little bit further to the west, so to facilitate the basement that needed to be built and all the foundations that need to be built for the new expansion. We've had a lot of bulk excavation take place, and we have had some changes in our water table, which has related into some change orders. Upcoming this month, we are hoping to get a bunch of our concrete slabs poured to kind of wrap up December, and a lot of our structural steel that you're going to see going up in January will also be delivered. So we should have that all on site by the end of December. Then the big action will start to happen in January as we start to see a lot of those structural steel members go up, which will then you'll start to see actually the facility, the building as a whole start to come to play. So that'll be a lot that'll be visible now seeing construction. We've had several change orders in the process, nothing overly alarming. We're sitting at about $118,637.49 in change orders, and a couple of those were some credits that we've gotten along the way as well. We do have a change directive that it is out right now, and that change directive is for the change in groundwater conditions that we have found on site. So we do have a geotech that does the investigation prior to construction to tell us, to kind of estimate what we're to expect when we do construction in the area. You never know until you actually excavate, and so we did find different conditions of which is why we keep our geotech on for the duration of the construction project, because they're able then to give us direction. This is what we need to change to make this work. So we are working closely with the contractor and our consultants just to make sure that we understand all the changes that are taking place and any of the magnitude that will have as an impact to the budget. Impacts with the pool have been temporary disruptions here and there that we've been able to either manage with off facility hours. Like we've had them do quite a bit of work during the summer months when we had the shorter hours. We were able to get some of that work done outside of business hours, so as to limit the impacts to the user groups, or we've had short disruptions in the programming. We've been able to have Shandos work very closely with our scheduling team just to make sure we have as little impact to actual user groups and more trying to focus on any potential drop-ins that aren't heavily used by the public. Our small arena currently does not have Zamboni access, but Shandos has been very accommodating as they were able to get us in early on in the season to let us get some Zamboni work done. Right now there's a big gaping hole in front of the Zamboni rooms, which is why we don't have access. The hope is that we will be able to work with Shandos once we get all those concrete slabs in place and we get some of that backfill in place, that they're going to work with us to hopefully get some more Zamboni access just to help us maintain better quality on that surface. Looking ahead, we are just going to continue to maintain a tight, review on both the schedule and the budget, and work with Shandos to make sure we can kind of mitigate any of those changes that come up during construction. Are there any questions?
I got none. Thanks, Kaylee. Appreciate it. Councillor Kinghorn.
Just a comment, I'm looking at the website, well done. I really like what we've put up on there. I think it's going to eliminate a lot of the stories.
And I definitely can't take the credit for that. Our team has been amazing. I've just been able to answer questions as they need to put stuff up there. So I do agree, it does look great, and it's bringing the information to an easier way to process.
No other questions? Thanks, Kaylee.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Wide open Q&A for Chris, staff. Nobody? Nothing? Fantastic Santa Claus parade on Friday. It was fun. Night, Chuck? Nothing else? All good. Meeting adjourned, 1:09.